everyone, Razzle Fadazzle here. Welcome to a very overdue video about all the stuff that's been coming out lately. Specializations, guild halls, all sorts of other stuff coming out. I thought I started a brand new series called the Krytan Kerfuffle. So this series in particular will go over any news and my own opinions about the news and stuff like that. So I thought I'd just give it a name because I think names are fun and things like that. So, but we have a whole lot of stuff come on. This might be a bit of a long video, so strap in and let's get on with it. This week it has just been an amazing week for Guild Wars 2 in general, although also kind of a sucky week and awesome week. So depending on how you look at it, in my point of view, it's been so awesome considering all the news about guild halls and the specializations coming out on Tuesday, a whole bunch of other awesome news that has been has been like trickling out this week. This has probably been the most the updates or notes that we've gotten in a long time about a certain subject is just amazing. We've gotten several, I think 7 blog posts about guild halls, all on the different topics about them, including some other bits and pieces that have been said on Reddit and Twitter and the forums about other implementations, about this new update patch that we're getting on Tuesday, which is a lot larger than we all thought it was going to be. We all thought, oh, it was just going to be specializations. No, we're getting a whole bunch of other stuff that hasn't been talked about, and I think it's just it just feels so good to finally get a chance to sit down and, you know, go over this stuff. So the first thing I want to go over is first few things I want to go over, a few of the little things just to kind of go quickly go over them. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, including guild halls is a big subject to talk about that I want to go over. And just go over my opinions of everything, but just go over some of the little things so we can quickly get through them. The first thing is coming up in the update patch on Tuesday, we are getting an Ascended Armor stat change ability crafting thing. So with a certain recipe in the Mystic Forge, you can actually change the stats on your Ascended Armor and weapons. So that you can change it. Say you have Valkyrie, you really want to have soldiers. Well, you could do that after Tuesday. It's awesome. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends and guildies have been wanting this feature since myself owning a couple legendaries. I've loved the versatility that they have when I can switch stats from one stat to the other. Like I want Zerker, or if I'm going to War of the World, I want something a bit tankier for Zerk busting. I'll go into soldiers or something like that, and it's really nice. And having an ability to change my Ascended Armor, since my Guardian and my Ellie are fully Ascended, I'm just like, man, I really wish I could just change it around a bunch. And now it will be possible after Tuesday. A few things you'll recipe materials you need it was said will be the actual like inscription that is the type that you want to change to, the stat type, spirit shard, which is the new currency that we'll be getting in place of our skill points. So the skill points will be split off into hero points and the spirit shards. The other thing, and this was only mentioned a bit, and the Ascended Armor stat changing, it was actually told by Colin Johansson, which was really cool. I mean, how often does he ever talk to us on the forums, which was awesome. But the other thing, someone on Reddit was posting, an Arena Dev was saying, the rings might be rings and trinkets. If you have a bunch of them, hold on to them. Don't throw them away. Hold on to them. There's going to be something we're going to put out there later on. Just don't jump the bus on that. Just keep it, you know, keep it and see what's gonna come out at some point. Now the third these are the three quick things: Dragonite or Consumer. So we will probably getting finally something to consume all that Dragonite ore that we've been holding on to, or have not been holding on to like I have. I usually just toss it aside because there's no use for it, because I don't really plan on making Ascended Armor right now. I have a bunch of other goals that I want to complete, things that I want to buy, skins I want to get before HOT comes out, so I'm not concentrating on Ascended stuff. And there's a lot of other avenues to get Ascended gear randomly, so I don't really need to, so I just kind of toss it. I keep my Bloodstone Dust and my Imperial Fragments because I can convert those into special like little bags that can give you random stuff. I've probably gotten several exotics from the Madre gifts, and a couple, several rares, or even probably tens of rares from the gifts you get from the star. So it'd be really cool to get a Dragonite ore one that gives you something really cool. So those are the 3 kind of quick things. I thought that'd be really cool. Those are some interesting things. The ring thing hasn't been totally confirmed. We just know where there's, as it says on the Reddit post, there are plans for things and stuff. So we don't know exactly what it is, but Yeah, it's one of the, reading it, they're kind of being a little less, just like, they're kind of transparent, but not totally. All right, so the big thing, the fourth thing we're going to talk about is going to take the longest and probably make this video 30 minutes long, guild halls. So I never actually, I know that I was on a kind of podcast, or mega cast we call it, with Miss Super Mega Happy Fun Time with Loki, and we talked a bit about the guild halls. You can actually, I'll put a link in the description to that video. I'll even put some an annotation in the end for you guys to click it. But I did voice some opinions on things, although it kind of went on a big of a tangent. So here I wanted to concentrate my opinions mainly on the guild halls aspect. So there are a bunch of features coming in for guild halls, and the first big thing we got was I'm gonna go by order of blog post. So the first thing we told us was that we can take it from the enemy, so that these guild halls aren't owned right off the bat. There's no way to properly get them just like by buying them, like we did with Guild Wars 1, where we could just buy them off the vendor and just have them. In this one, we have to conquer, we actually have to defeat enemies that have taken over the guild halls. So Mordremath has invaded. This is inside of the Maguma jungle. So these are guild halls themed by, Maguma jungle, Mordremath, all of that. And so we have to take them back, and we actually have to go out on this cool adventure from a new building in Lion's Arch, which also will be fixed on Tuesday. I think it's called the Guild Initiative, and an organization that's in Lion's Arch that will be all about guild stuff. So you can register guilds and stuff like this. Those are the main guild functions you could do with all of the other NPCs, and this will have extra stuff for your guild to do, such as going after and taking those guild halls from Mordremath. I think that is so cool. Like, we actually have to go and take our guild hall and make it ours. So we have to go on this awesome adventure with all your guilds to, like, get everyone together and say, all right guys, we're going out, roll out, and we're gonna go through the Maguma jungle and search through the jungle for the guild halls. We don't know exactly where it is yet on the map. I know that I've seen a few Twitter posts from that shaman and other people about how they've seen the map already. I haven't spoiled myself. I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it a kind of a cool secret. I know some people in my guild have probably already seen it, but I plan to stay a bit in the dark on that, just so it's a bit of a surprise for myself. But just the idea of the adventure aspect of that is really cool. And so this actually brings up a good question about how guild halls will work in the future. How will we get new guild halls? Is this the way that they're going to be? So each set of guild halls is going to be themed by a certain area that they make. That's the good, I mean, that poses a question, like, is there going to be a Primordius or maybe a Dominion of Winds themed guild hall when Primordius is a thing, or a Holbra or a Shepherd Peaks themed guild halls with Dormag, or deep sea guild halls with the deep sea dragon. I mean, it just brings up all those questions, like, are we going to is this how guild halls are going to be presented in the future, as themed maps, like huge map size? And don't forget, these are big guild halls. They're a whole map for your guild. That's even another big accomplishment, as opposed to the tiny, not saying that the Guild Wars 1 guild halls were tiny, but compared to these new ones, I'm pretty sure they pale a comparison size-wise. The next blog post they put out was all about building it. So yeah, upgrading in it and progressing is kind of this progression for your guild, which is actually really cool. And I have a few points to bring up later about progression in the game. But so you can build buildings in your guild hall using special materials. A new material I think is really cool called Ethereum, which is mined over time by these miners that you have in your guild. You actually have a guild mine that mines this Ethereum stuff to upgrade your buildings. There's also another material called Resonance that increases it shortens the time. So it's kind of like how we had influence, and we could spend a certain amount of influence to increase an upgrade, make it go faster over time. So there are 6 buildings, and each does a different thing. So first one is this tavern, which has social aspects. So you can actually make out of this tavern an anthem for your guild, and it will play after certain moments of triumph, as it says. And so when you're capturing something in Worldly World, there's even a setting for PvP where you can, when you win the match, you can actually have your anthem being played at the end of the match if it's a guild versus guild PvP match, which we'll go over in a bit. And that's actually really cool. Like, I always wanted, and I was saying this to a guild leader last night, hey, Wouldn't it be cool if our anthem could be like the secret treasure open music when in Zelda it goes do 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 do. I think that'd be so cool, right? Wouldn't that be awesome if you could hear that at the end of a PvP match and the guy's like, man, those guys are so cool with their anthem. Man, why did we think of that? Although I don't think that's how it works. I think there'll be special anthems that they'll place inside, and it might be another gem store thing, or it might just be a craftable thing. Who knows how it works? So the second one is the mine, which mines the Ethereum, and is a building itself. So I don't know how the building of this this structure works. If it's just something you build off at the beginning, or if it's really cheap, something, because you need Ethereum to help you build the other buildings. So I'm not really sure how it will work in the sense of order, but who knows. The third is the workshop, and this is for all the crafting and gathering stuff, and it will be part of the new guild-specific crafting profession, Scribe, which we'll go over later, and it works with all of that stuff. So once we talk over Scribe, we'll be a bit more clear what that does. And then the war room, and we saw some of the stuff that the war room does in the E3 video that Colin Johansson showed us, with all the cool airships bombarding Stone Mist and the Char motorcycles, which turned out are actually a transform that your guild can use once you have the war room. And you'll unlock all sorts of different recipes for the scribe, and the guild claiming system will be updated as well along with this change. And then the fifth is the market, which has all the merchants and all the things you can actually build new guild weapons and armor, which I'm really excited to see because I've always wanted armor that can show off my guild, even though I look pretty fab and all my other stuff. But who knows, I might be able to come up with something cool with this new guild stuff. And the sixth, the most anticipated one for me, I'd hoped that this would have been put in. I predicted something like this would have been put into guild halls. I just didn't know in what form. It is the arena, and this is where you can do like a social PvP kind of experience. It's a sandbox where you can customize it with traps and walls and columns and all sorts of other stuff inside of it, and you can just fight your friends. You can invite other guilds to participate with you. I mean, imagine the social aspect this creates. You and another guild are friends, or you're in a quote-unquote alliance with each other, and you're like, hey, yo, why don't you guys come over here? We'll have a cool little tournament and see what, a 5v5 team, or even a 10v10 team. Who knows how big the teams can be or how many people can be inside of the arena at a time. I think that'd be really cool to kind of build upon team play and PvP just in this arena. And who knows, it might inspire ANET to create different game modes with maybe greater number of players in them. Who knows? So I know I'm skipping really quickly over this because there's just a lot of stuff, and I don't want this video to take a whole lot of time. I apologize for that because I'm just kind of getting on this right now. Again, I've had a hard time sitting down to make this video, so bear with me as I go through it. If you have any questions, do ask me. It's like, oh, what do you think of this and that? Or if I had an opinion on all these different buildings, I think this is a good way to create a progression system for guild halls. I would have liked to see more buildings. The variety is okay, but I would like to see a difference. And at the same time, I'm saying this is quite a lot for this one thing, this first iteration of guild halls that we're getting, or new iteration of guild halls. I think that's a great first step. If they decide to change it in the future, I'd be really excited for that, like to add new buildings as new expansions or new updates come out with new applications. I mean, who knows? I mean, I remember when we were watching the video, everyone got so excited when I saw the cool portal for guild missions. Like, oh my god, raids confirmed. It wasn't really that, but it was a certain part of that, and I wish we'll go over the portal in a little bit. That's a different subject entirely. So the next blog post, they talk about two important things. One of them a bit more heavy than the other one, though they're both quite exciting as well. One of them is the splitting of influence over entirely. Influence and merits will be gone entirely, and influence will be breaking apart into three essential new currencies for guilds. The first one is favor, and it's basically given as a reward for completing missions, which we'll also go over, and the favor will be used for specific guild stuff. It's as a normal currency for upgrades and things like that. and possibly for like buying certain things for your scriber and things like that. Ethereum is basically, it replaces the elements of the queue system. So we had, when you had an upgrade in your guild, you queued it for building, and this will replace that process, and it keeps the rate at a certain pace, so it's not like you have and can't be changed by buying gold or anything like that. So with big guilds, they were able to get upgrades really fast because they could spend gold for influence and just up the rate at which their upgrades went. And with this, it keeps it at the same pace, so even bigger guilds have to wait at a certain time for things to be built, and the smaller guilds won't have that much lag behind them. Now, the thing that is going, as I said before, I talked about resonance. The whole purpose of resonance is to speed up all of the guild items. Everything that is built by Ethereum, you can pretty much use this to increase the speed of which all the buildings are built or old upgrades. You get these by, they're given to, they're rewarded in different ways. So you get resonating shards, and you get them from, just doing guild specific things, or even just they're dropped from regular mobs for your guild members. So it's kind of a cool another drop thing you get. I don't expect people to start farming this stuff, although I wouldn't go farm this. It's not super important. It's just a nice little thing that if you get it, it's like, oh cool, I have some resonance. I can put that towards the new market we're building, or the arena that we're building. So the one thing actually that I was kind of disappointed to see, and although I guess it was needed, sort of, because they needed to take all this influence that you earned and kind of give you something for it. In the Guild Initiative headquarters, which is that new building that will be in Lion's Arch, you can actually trade in your influence for certain things. So, but it's time gated in a way so that even though guilds who have a whole lot of influence, they won't be super ahead of smaller guilds that don't have a super amount of, whole huge stock of influence in their guild. So every day you can trade a certain specific amount of influence for favor. Once per day, you may use influence to purchase boosts to your Ethereum production. So again, Ethereum, I'll have to restate, Ethereum is the materials used for the upgrades in the buildings, and is generated by your mine. And then you can convert influence to resonance whenever you want. So the last one I'm kind of upset about, not upset, I'm just kind of disappointed that they would give that, like, you can just, whenever you want, you can trade as much influence you want for resonance, and then you can just speed up everything. Although I don't know how much resonance will speed up. They didn't really say how fast it speeds it up, and how much you can use it to, how many times you can use resonance to speed up a certain building. There might be a time gate to that. Who knows? I hope there is. That way, again, smaller guilds still have a chance to catch up to the larger guilds overall. And the other thing with this blog post is, even though you have 5 guilds, there will be a way for you to communicate between all of them without repping each of them. So you can split up the chats into Guild 1, Guild 5, Guild 2, Guild 3, Guild 4, Guild 5 in your channel, your chat channels, which is kind of cool. I think that's a good way to allow for other people, if you're really invested in 2 guilds, you can then communicate with both of them. Maybe you can set a different tab for G1 and a different tab for G2, and that helps with the communication between both, so you're not left out of the loop in both guilds. Like you're representing one guild that is in Worldly World, like I am. I'm part of a Worldly World guild and my main guild, which is Mega, and I don't always know what's going on in my Worldly World guild because I'm not always repping them. So it's really nice to see that we'll have a nice mesh to be able to keep track of everyone. Now, the most exciting thing for this guild hall's reinvention is the missions, and this is really cool. I think some of it was needed. Some of it might have been a bit overboard with time getting certain things, or reducing the amount of times you can do certain things. The way the missions work now is that you can access them from your guild panel, and you can activate each different type of mission. You can activate them all at once, or you can activate them in succession, but there was a certain time limit to each of them. But basically, the way that the system works now is that you can just activate all of them at once and do them all once a week. And basically, some of them you don't have to finish because sometimes they're not worth finishing. Because the way that they work now is if you fail once, the mission's over. You have to spend more influence or more guild, like your guild mission tries, so you can activate a whole new mission to restart that mission. And that was kind of an okay system. It was kind of give or take how it worked. It was just kind of spamming guild missions, which isn't totally okay. And that's why I'm kind of saying this overall is a good thing for missions, because it allows it to be more core to the guild experience overall. So the way that the new missions will work is that each week you'll have a set of particular missions you'll be able to do that week. And you'll start off with a few, and the more you do missions, the more will open up to you that you can run each week. And you can, and again, it's a week by week basis, so at the end of the week, that week, if you do these missions, you can only do them those missions that week, and then you have a new set of missions next week. And each of them has favor attached to them, which is used for upgrades and things like that. But the difference between these missions and the old missions is that you can try these missions as many times as you want without having to start a new mission. So no one is blocked from doing missions, whereas now if you fail the mission and you only had one, let's say in your guild panel, you only have one guild mission left, you activate that queue of guild mission, and you fail it, you won't be able to get another one until you queue up another guild mission for building. And so now you can just retry them. They're completely accessible to everyone from the beginning, and it allows your guild to accomplish a task even if you failed it. So it gives tries for people who really want to try, so smaller guilds that still have a chance at completing some harder missions, whereas larger guilds will still have access to, to be able to do them all if they want to. And this is actually the really cool part. You actually, for the guild puzzles and challenges and rushes, they will have a sort of instance type thing going on for them, especially the guild challenges and puzzles. Rushes not so much, I don't believe, although they didn't mention if rushes were included in this, but basically the challenges and puzzles will have their own instance for your guild. So that way they kind of function like a dungeon you can go into for them. And that way you won't have to run into the problem where one guild is running the rush right now, or the puzzle, and you're waiting there, sitting there waiting for them to finish because they have 5 minutes left and you don't want to wait. You don't want to try to go in and get stuck in there or fail it. And the last thing in this blog post, which is really cool, was the guild portal. Now, this allows fast travel for free to the waypoint nearest to each mission starting location of the missions that you're doing that week. And so you can also use it to travel to permanent destinations such as Lion's Arch and Heart of the Mist. This is a cool, cool starting place for your guild to start their adventure to wherever they're going to go, or for even a party. You can go in through alone, or you can go with the group. So, and it allows for cool traveling from your guild hall. So it kind of gives you that cool sense of like, I'm in my guild hall. Where do I want to go? Press a button. Psh, I'm there in a snapperoo. So there you go. My overall reaction to all of these things for missions is overall really positive. I think that missions are now, and they mentioned this before, missions were supposed to be an end game for guilds, but that didn't turn out to be the way it turned out. That didn't turn out the way it turned out. But right now, what they're going to be using for is kind of a backbone core system for guilds. I'm not sure if that means that end game is going to be a thing for guild halls, and this brings another point where it seems like there's going to be multiple types of end game content for different game modes. So or not even just for game modes, different parts of the game. So for guilds, what end game is there for that? Is missions that, or is there something else they're planning for guilds for end game? Is it PvE? Is there going to be different end game for PvE? Is there going to be different end game for open world? Is there going to be different end game for group content or things like that? I mean, they're talking about, they were talking about challenging group content, which they haven't talked about very much or at all lately. It would be nice to hear more about that. That way we can kind of get a sense of what is going to be this sort of end game we're going to talk about. And this is I'm not necessarily saying that end game is supposed to be an important part of a game. And frankly, considering I've been playing this game for 3 years, since the first closed beta, and been constantly on. I did take a break once in my Guild Wars 2 career, but otherwise I've been playing this game for so long I never needed a quote-unquote end game to keep playing this. So it's really just up to, I guess it might be up to the players to kind of figure that out, or if ANA gives that to us, it might be something completely different that we never thought about. So who knows? And so the next thing we're talking about is the scribe, the new guild-specific crafting discipline. And I will definitely be contributing to this crafting discipline because it sounds way awesome and completely amazing. So the scribe basically is a crafter of all things for your guild. So it makes guild consumable. The three things that the scribe makes are the guild consumables, such as banners, banquets, tokens, world event tokens, and all existing guild consumables. So all those things that you know, and there's even guild specific like food and potions that you can actually make through scribe that can help with certain things. The other thing are improvements and tactics for revamping the guild, claiming in World vs. World, so they can, you know, I guess that might have to do with maybe anthems or different upgrades that you can get as you claim a tower or a keep in World vs. World. We actually discussed that. There was actually a blog post about that, how that worked entirely, because it's completely revamped. And the third thing that the scribe can do is make decorations for the guild hall. It can make fancy decorations like new fountains and trees and all sorts of other things like that that can be used to decor your guild hall. One of the things that assemblage is, and I almost forgot to talk about this. So resonance, as I said before, was a material you could use to basically what they say, turbocharge the process. And what it does is it actually immediately finishes the item that you're building. So that's kind of, and that way you can just circumvent the time gate part, and that requires you to have resonance. And so resonating shards, which are discovered while grouping with other guild members. So I don't know if that means you have to be with other guild members to get it, or if you have to be with 1, 2, or 3, or 4, 5 guild members. I don't know if what the number, you know, what the different drop rates are, or what the scalage is for how many guild members are in your party. I don't know if that's a thing. Or you can find one while just looting off random monsters by yourself. So some things will also be able to give you resonance shards. So I'm assuming there'll be different places to find that stuff. And so the other thing about decorations, which I didn't cover, was you actually be able to upgrade the decorations using special materials you can find in the world. So for example, they give the example in the blog post. So you have this little like fountain. It's a basic stone fountain. It's kind of boring and plain. But you can go to the Hidden Garden jumping puzzle, which is in Mount Maelstrom, and there are a bunch of air elementals there, and they can drop an essence of illumination, and by using this essence, you can unlock a recipe that uses that essence to kind of upgrade your boring stone pool into a fountain that has like lights and cool effects and stuff like that. And so I can imagine that a lot of the decorations you'll be able to build as a scribe will have this kind of upgrade system to be able to like totally pimp out your guild hall in some way. The second to last blog post was claiming a World v. World. The overall gist of World v. World claiming is that once you claim a guild hall, or once you actually take the objective with your Zerg or whatever, the guild with the most members present when the objective is captured has the first priority to claiming the guild. If they pass that opportunity, then the guild next down the priority chain has the opportunity to claim it. And after 3 passes total, any sort of guild can claim the objective. A guild member with the permissions to claim objectives actually needs to go to make the claim. They actually have to go to the NPC and make the claim and make all the queue all the upgrades and everything. And all the banners will show off your guild emblem, and NPCs will sport your guild tag, so you'll have the cool. For Mega, we'll have our awesome pink unicorn on it. You'll have all sorts of other different upgrades as well, and upgrades will come automatically. Like all the different benefits you get for claiming will become automatic. And allow it to, so it doesn't take so much time to gather all those things up. So the way that basically upgrades work now. There'll be a new system for upgrades overall for different objectives, and so you'll have several different, you'll have 3 tiers based on the duration of the objective. So as long as you keep holding it, the tiers will go up for the greater amount of time you have it up, captured or controlled. And this allows you to build different tiers of upgrades, and there are 2 types of upgrades: improvements, which always are active, and then tactics, which players actually have to go and interact with. And some of the improvements they give out are you can harden cannons to make them tougher, and that also applies to the mortars and the boiling oil, so they're harder to kill from player attacks. You can make your guards tougher, and I don't know what that exactly means. Does it mean bringing their HP up, or does that mean bringing their toughness up, or maybe even changing them from veterans to champions? Who knows? And then other things like setting traps that cause the supply like the one that they give an example of is the supply depot explodes if you lose the objective, so all the supply is gone. Supply camps can upgrade speed and toughness and capacity of the Dolyaks. The towers, and this is something I don't know how it will be perceived, but towers can actually be upgraded to show enemies within range of the tower on the map, so you can see enemies approaching the towers. Keeps can enhance players defending them, so they maybe give certain buffs to them. And the cool part, and another one, fountains in Stone Mist can be upgraded to grant stealth to those who drink from them. So that gives a whole different aspect to playing in EBGs, mainly because it talks specifically about Stone Mist, and I believe it will apply mainly to the EBG or Eternal Battlegrounds, mainly because they're removing the old Borderlands in the expansion. So we'll see. I don't know how it'll play in the new Borderlands, but we'll see. The other improvement is the tactic, or the other enhancement or upgrades are the tactics. And these are abilities that players can activate to give temporary boosts to help them defend objectives. So for example, you can summon a supply drop, you can activate traps, you can fortify the gates and walls against all attacks, so like maybe it makes them temporarily invulnerable to certain attacks. And even in another thing, in Stone Mist, now this is what we saw on the E3 video, you can actually summon a packed fleet bombardment to just like murder everyone, just like blow everyone up out of the sky, from the sky. So awesome. And actually, to talk about a third type, I don't know if it's a third type or if it's intertwined in tactics. I think there are super weapons and special gadgets that you can, as a sole player of your guild, can take out. So these are guild specific things, and I think they come from I believe they come from your war room. These different upgrades you can apply to your guild. So one of them they talk about is the Banner of the Centaur, which allows you to trap opponents in cages and shoot arrows at them, and then give you the ability to trample them and to stampede across the battlefield. And the one that they showed off, one of the other ones they showed off was the Char Car. You can actually transform into the Char Car and shoot, like, I guess, fire stuff. I might be a huge flamethrower on it. And the last thing overall, which was not as exciting, not really the most exciting thing, I wasn't particularly vexed by it, but was the guild teams, the PvP guild teams. So you can set your guild up as a team in PvP, and there'll be, I believe there's a way to queue as long as you queued alongside 2 other members that are your guildies, you'll be represented as a guild team that you're a member of. And you can have up to 2 substitutes, and you can still play as the guild team. And this gives perks that can be unlocked from your guild hall. A guild, like as I said before, a guild anthem that plays at the end of the match if you win. There'll be a special rating specific for your team. Matchmaking will be different, and there'll be a team's leaderboard that will be part of the whole new revamp of the leaderboards in HOT. So that was it. That was the last blog post. That's all of the information from the guild halls. I tried to go over them as fast as possible. This is turning into probably a 30-minute video, but I have to get it out there, my opinions. Overall, guild halls sound amazing. They're a new way for guilds to interact with the world. I like that they're story-driven, at least heavily story-driven, that they're kind of themed after the different areas that we're going to be in, not just something you can buy or purchase and you just change all the time. You can change your guild halls if you want to, you can go between one or the other, and your progress will be saved. You just have to replace all your decorations that you've bought or crafted. But it gives this whole new feeling that you're just this part of the. It gives you the kind of a feeling you're part of a bigger thing. Guilds will be just a more important part now. Before they were just kind of, and a friend told this to me, they're kind of just an overrated friends list, kind of. I mean, and just the only special thing you really got from guilds was, oh, you can do guild missions together and you get a special chat room. And so now guilds with guild halls will feel just that much more cool. You feel like you're part of something. Not that you don't feel part of something now. I mean, I definitely feel part of Mega heavily, and I really correlate and really love everyone in the guild. But now with guild halls, we're able to do cool things like decorate our guild hall with like cool mazes and stuff, and PvP in the arena, kind of do fun things like different activities and stuff, and teleport together to missions. It just gives you that sense that we are a guild, we go out and adventure together. I believe the main thing with guild halls, and this is the sense that you have to kind of use your imagination to make it something bigger. So you going to the guild initiative headquarters, talking to this representative to go on this journey, this expedition to find this guild hall, and then go through the Guma jungle as a guild and search for it, find it, and then take it over as a guild. It kind of, I believe what it might do is it might bring people closer together in a sense. Might not automatically, but it kind of make them feel like they're all doing this together as a guild, kind of like a raid almost. Not that I'm saying that these are raids, definitely not, but that it kind of gives you that feeling of it. I think my only criticism over all of the guild hall stuff is that we weren't introduced with, or didn't make guild halls part of a PvE experience. Mostly it's just guild. I guess they're trying to separate guild experience from PvE experience, from PvP experience, from World v World. Although World v World and guild experience will be one thing entirely together, kind of, since you have the war room and everything, and even PvP since you have the arena. But I feel like I wish they had incorporated guilds a little bit more into PvE than just missions. Who knows? I mean, they might revamp the missions entirely, like just make brand new ones, which I'm hoping they do. I really do hope that they make new missions for guilds to do, because it's kind of been a while since we've had missions. We've kind of done them over and over again. It'd be kind of sucky to have to continue doing those old missions over and over again from, even though it's kind of a bit cooler to go on missions, you could get more from them. It still would be nice to have brand new ones to experience overall. So the last couple of things, the specializations coming up. I don't have time to go over the whole thing. I might just make a separate video on the specialization stuff tomorrow. But I'm really super excited for that. A whole new bunch of stuff coming out with that on Tuesday. The last thing that I have to talk about is, unfortunately, I will be going on a 2-week trip to Canada to visit family. It's my grandfather's 90th birthday, so I kind of have to go up there and see him. So I will try to do my best to do something while I'm up there, but it'll be very difficult for me since I will not have access to internet very often, and I won't be able to bring this computer with me that has all of my software that I edit with, all my recording software. I have my mic in front of me, so it might be lower quality, it might be not edited at all, so who knows. But I'll try to do my best to communicate with everyone, with you guys, as best as possible. My last final feedback for all of this is that I really truly believe that ANET is doing a wonderful job so far. Everything looks awesome. If anything, all this and all of this hullabaloo all over this pre-purchase stuff, I'm not going to pay attention to it. I don't feel any sort of retribution or anything like that, against them. They are an awesome company, honest people that make an honest game. I mean, they are so excited, and they make me excited to play the game over and over and over again. That's why I've been playing for 3 years. That's why I continue to play. That's why I'm going to play HOT for probably just as long as I played the core game. And I'm really excited for everything now, especially the guild halls and all the new stuff coming out. Who knows what's coming up next week and the week after that. New specialization, group content, more HOT map stuff. Who knows? Can't wait to see it all. I will be there every step of the way with you guys after this 2 weeks. So until next time, hope you all enjoyed. Please subscribe and like the video, helps me out a lot. I will see you guys next time. Bye.